open up, it's just going to be this really loose, comfortable thing.
So for the drills, what kind of rate, like, for that?
Stroke rate? Yeah, like 40.
Really slow.
40. And then really slow it down for the 180 drill.
Slower than 40.
Slower, really, really slow. And it's important too, you don't start at 40 and then work your way up to 70. That's the drill.
That seems to be what happens.
So if you're stroking and you feel like 2 is rushing you, don't think, oh, I better go faster because 2 wants me to go faster. Like 2 needs to slow down. So you stay doing what you're doing at 1. Nice and slow and easy. Hopefully you wipe yourself.
Oh, yay. Let's give it a hand, guys. Yeah!
All right, 180 drill. So what's happening also is we basically had about 5 things that we started with drills, and we're actually developing more as we go because we're seeing a need to get breakthrough and get some more understanding. So we've been we talk about some other stuff, and we started experimenting with a couple things. So you'll be exposed to more and more things as we go. To try to help the understanding, because it's quite different than what we're used to doing once we get up to speed here. So, but these drills will help us break through, like as we get further into this thing. The rhythm of the stroke's different than what you're used to doing. So, like I said, there'll be some more drills we'll add later, and but you have to be patient. This is putting money in the bank for later. So you gotta come ready to do this work. I know a lot of us just want to go out and paddle, go hard, get done with it, and hopefully see dolphins and have a hard workout. All that kind of stuff. I mean, I do too, but it's like you gotta make that investment now for later, and hopefully it'll just be, we'll be reaping the benefits of this later on in the year, and that's how you gotta think of it.
And what we've been telling the guys is, we were worried the guys were just gonna have a total meltdown with this, but all the guys
They do when we're not around.
seem to be buying into it. The guys that are worried about, well, we're not getting a workout, it's go to the gym, start running, get on your bike, swimming, whatever you do, continue doing that during the off season, and maybe adding in something else. Because for the next couple months, it's not about getting in big giant paddling shape like we normally do. It's learning these drills so it becomes second nature. And they do come on quicker than you think. But to get them good, we gotta really pound it in and invest in doing it.
Take it.
All right, so the big rotation drill. So again, it's focusing on, while you're doing the drills, the reason we're doing that drill and what we're trying to take from it, what are we trying to learn, and then all the other little parts of it will just be bonuses. So that stab drill, what we're learning is how to position our bodies, how to rotate, how to open up at the front of our catch, what we want to be doing at the front of our stroke. The bottom hand drill, getting the hand wet, we're focusing on changing our axis of rotation so that our shoulders aren't square, we're stacking them, we're getting our weight on our paddles outside of the canoe. So the rotation drill, the point of this drill is we want to learn to engage our big muscles, and not just engage them, but pull our paddles through the water with those muscles. So that's the whole focus of this drill. That's why we're doing this drill, is to learn how to utilize that rotation and that rotation alone to pull your blade through the water. So when you're doing this drill, what we'll say is to start out, open up as much as you can, and then at the end, close as much as you can. And you really got to slow the stroke rate down because this is going to be a really, really long stroke in the water. But what this is also teaching us is what we're going to later is the 2-to-1 ratio we're looking for, where you want to spend twice as much time in the water as you do on your recovery. So this is teaching you to go nice and slow through the water and get comfortable with feeling that pressure on your blade throughout that whole stroke in the water. So again, at the start of the stroke, when you open up, you want to rotate all the way open. And the bigger you rotate open, the easier it's going to be for you to rotate or to do this stroke. The bigger you rotate open, the easier it is to catch with your lats right at the front of the stroke and use this closing rotation to pull your blade. So when you're opening up on this one, when you're all the way open, this top hand, you can see under it, your shoulders are completely stacked and you're looking all the way at your opposite shore. So the bigger this rotation is right at the front, you're gonna get this bigger blade angle, you're gonna get a bigger catch, and you wanna really focus on this drill, especially getting that huge rotation right at the start. So that big rotation starts here, looking under that top hand, shoulders are really stacked, and then using that same axis of rotation, you don't wanna sit up and square up through the stroke. You take, instead of this bottom shoulder coming up to your top shoulder like this, through this drill, you want your top shoulder to come down to your bottom shoulder as you rotate through. So it starts out really big, you come down, and when you do that, you're going to notice your bottom hand driving deep down into the water, which goes back to the drill before. That's how we're going to be getting our bottom hand wet. But on this drill, the focus is to be using these big muscles to pull the blade. So what you really want to do is once you feel your blade bite in and catch, relax your hand, relax your arm, relax this whole part of your body so that when you rotate, the only thing pulling is right here. You'll feel your lats right here just engage. And then this rotation, as you close off, is going to pull your blade through the water. And that's how you stop arm paddling and you start body paddling, is by using that rotation to pull your blade through the water. So again, that's the focus of this drill. Right.
Totally been doing this wrong.
So see, even he's exaggerating where his top hand is higher than we might normally have it when we're paddling, but it's a drill.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
okay. So if you are going to get the proper rotation, unlocking this so that you can stack it, you will have that top hand in a position where normally it's not going to give you a whole lot. That's okay.
Absolutely.
So all those of us who are used to paddling with our top hand more down by our head, open up. Go ahead and elevate that chest and that armpit so that you can really get underneath it.
Exactly.
Just that, as you come down, so does your paddle end up going almost across the gunnel, or does it still stay up as you're rotating?
You're going to want to try and keep it straight up and down through every drill, through every stroke, through everything we do. That's part of our fundamental that we want to do. So on this one, you need to figure out, that's why we go really slow, is it's a chance where you're like, okay, I got my rotation good. Oh, but my paddle was turned. The next one, I'll try and keep my paddle up. Oh, I have my paddle up, but my rotation wasn't quite right. All right, the next one, I'll try and get both together. And every time you take a stroke through the water, you reanalyze what you're doing, focus on one thing your body's doing at a time, and then apply that to the next stroke and try and learn from that.
So basically you want everything stacked outside the boat. When you're doing the stroke, you want the arm stacked outside the boat.
The hands definitely, not necessarily the arm.
No, the top arm. Not the top arm?
The hands will be stacked, but like
Yeah,
when I'm
outside
here, my top arm is obviously coming further over. But definitely the hands.
That's removable.
Like your head's not, I mean, are you, like I see you turning like that, I mean, you've
Right.
always been in circles, straight ahead. Is this
Absolutely. This is for the drill. When you're actually stroking, if you were to do that, you're gonna get dizzy so fast. But for this drill, if you look under your top hand and you turn your head, you know that you're open. And if you're not looking, then a lot of times you won't tell you like, oh, I'm so open right now and I'm so stacked. But you're really not. So if you can see under this top hand, like there's no way you're looking under that arm without opening and stacking your shoulders. So that's why I say at the front, we're focusing on the catch again. That's the most important thing we're focusing on. So at the first part, if you look across under your top arm and you get as big as you can, like I can't even see my top arm in that one, I'm so far under it. And the more you lean forward and open up and rotate into it, the better catch you're going to get and the easier it's going to be able to use your big muscles on that pull. So that's why I'm looking there. And in this rotation drill, I'll catch and then I'll close open and look towards the other shore just to make sure I'm closing my shoulders.
Something
And that's the
we've
second
been,
part of this drill.
to go along with that looking back, something we've been telling the guys who've been having issues continuing opening
They
up.
all stop here.
Yeah.
They go, I'm doing it.
Like I'm opening up huge, like I'm way like this, and they stop here, and it's like they're just going past, square and neutral. Is continue looking, and for the guys that have had a lot of trouble, continue rotating back and almost look, follow your paddle in the water, and then look at the person behind you. Because if your head's going, at least for now, to get the motion kind of more familiar. Huh? Yeah. It'll get you dizzy.
That's
but
why you really want to slow down with this one too.
if you're looking at that person behind you,
And smile.
then it kind of can help follow the body. So if you're having issues,
There's a couple things you can do also. You can watch your bottom hand. Another thing Jason was saying is you can follow your bottom hand. Watch that hand get wet. And that carries your body around. And also remember, it's what your chest is doing. Is your chest turning from one side to the other? Or is it just your head? I see this a lot. That's my broad hand.
Thanks.
So, but it's your chest. Where's your chest going, right? That's your rotation. is where your chest and shoulders are, not your head. So follow your hand, follow your chest. You know, use those cues that he's talking about, right? You know, looking under your
Get us all
armpits.
an inch skinnier in our waist.
I know, huh?
There's the motivation. No for vanity. What's an inch?
For me, I'm feeling this drill especially. I like right underneath my rib cage right here from tweaking out and rotating all the way through. It pinches for me right here. And like I get done with these workouts, my lats are sore. And right through here, I'm just like, oh, man, I'm feeling this one. So this drill for me, I feel it right here from really trying to open up on one side, pinch on the other, and rotate through. It's loading up here, but it's this muscle that I'm not used to rotating a lot. So.
And again, I'll just say one more thing on that drill. I've had a couple of questions so far already about the back end of the stroke. And on this one, this is so much further and pointless on the back end of your stroke. It means absolutely nothing. But we're asking you to do it because if you're not getting your catch right, there's no way you're going to find pressure at the back end of your stroke. So if you're seeing other people pulling and still getting pressure and you're done with yours and you're at the back end of your stroke and there's nothing there and you've got no pressure on your blade, that's just an indication of, okay, what can I do to get my catch bigger and my rotation bigger at the front so that I still have that pressure all the way through, all the way back here. You want to find that even pressure on your blade because that's what we want to take into our actual stroke once we start racing and once we start picking up the pace. So the point of this drill is to find that pressure all the way through and be able to hold that pressure and what to do with your body in order to keep that continuous even pressure on your blade and use your rotation while you pull. So that's why there's that back end to the stroke. It's not because we want to teach you how to paddle back here, but it's because we want to teach you how to paddle up here. And if you're not getting it up here, you sure as hell won't have it back here. So try and find it up here, and if you do, then you'll be able to carry it all the way through with the boat. And as the boat moves forward, you can keep your blade right in the water when you started, get that big catch and hold that pressure all the way through. So that's why you end up going so far back on that drill.
Yeah, because we're really going to eliminate all that jerkiness to the stroke, you know, that people get. You know, you gotta. It's going to be a real long, smooth pressure in the water, guys. It's kind of mirroring the blade speed.
It's gonna. What'll end up happening
So you're not
is
going fast in the water.
that
the
drill in
boat's not moving
particular
fast, right?
really shows who's getting a
Vary
big
that
catch
together.
and who's getting that forward blade angle at the front of the stroke. So people who aren't getting that, to keep timing, they're forced to come all the way back here and like have this huge back end to the stroke. So a lot of times people will be coming back really, really far simply to keep the timing in the water, out of the water at the same time. If you're doing it completely right, you still want to come all the way back because it's hard to keep that stroke in the water, close your shoulders off all the way, and keep your blade out. That's not gonna happen. So if you're following that good rotation through, it's going to come all the way back. So it'll almost come parallel to the boat. And then come out. Yes and no. We're going to do a drill to go over that. It's a feathered recovery like that, but your hand doesn't do a sweep outside of the boat. Your hand still runs right next to the gunnel when you're recovering. So it's a nice, easy feathered recovery, but you don't come out like this. You come out like this. So we'll go over that. That's going to be another drill that we're going to go over during the
I got a question. You
Yes.
mentioned that you want to spend twice as much time in the water and quicker on the recovery.
Right.
And years past it was a 2-to-1, whereas 1 in the water and then 2 on the
Right.
recovery. Is this only for the drills what we're doing?
Oh no, this is what we're trying to change the stroke to.
So it's going to be
This is going to be the hardest thing to do at high speed at the beginning. Yeah.
okay.
Mind blown.
But eventually, is it going to be? I mean, if
1, 2, 1,
so.
2.
At the end of the day, when we were doing Catalina, it's going to be a fast recovery.
Yes.
Right.
It
Okay.
won't feel fast.
Okay.
Trust me, it will not feel like it's really fast through the water from the way it's going to do it. So I think we're at that drill
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
coming to the recovery now.
Yeah, I think we're coming on the recovery now.
Okay. So we'll go
Understood,
over the
thank you.
drill and
Right.
the
Yeah.
reason
So
why.
just to answer your question, the difference between with this stroke, a 50 stroke rate and a 70 stroke rate, you spend the same amount of time in the water. You just pick up your recovery and you make your recovery faster. The water part is almost exactly the same.
Okay.
You just recover 3 times, 4 times as fast. So once you get it down and once you get the relaxed recovery down, your recovery is literally like the snap of a finger and you don't even feel it. It's just pop, 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 pop. It just goes.
Okay.
And
This
that
was the
way
biggest thing
you're not
that
forcing
Rich
it.
and I had to kind of grapple over when he was telling us what they were doing. I thought Johnny's was like, that's no way. Now that we've done it, it's hard for me to go back to 1, 2, 3, It's like I can't even do it the old way now because this feels so much more
But
comfortable.
it only works if you're relaxed.
Yeah.
Right. If you're tense and you're trying to do it, it doesn't work at all. So you have these drills, again, going back to these drills, always try to paddle. You have to learn how to paddle relaxed and recover relaxed. Everything is just really relaxed. You've got to learn to just hang on the blade, be super relaxed. Otherwise, if you get tense, it gets ugly.
We're not
White
paddling
knuckle
hard.
it with your hands, do not white knuckle it.
Right.
Remember that your hands and your arms are just an extension of your power center. It's all about the core.
Right.
So power's in the center, arms are loose and relaxed, hands are loose and relaxed. Enough so you don't lose the blade, knock yourself in the nose,
Right.
which we've all done, right?
Yeah.
But power's in the center, the tension's in the center. Even on the recovery, however, you don't ever let yourself relax for a second. You stop blood flow. You stop blood flow, you stop oxygen. So the recovery has to be where just for a fraction of a second, everything is relaxed, even in your torso. But before you hit, you engage your core, and the arms are still going to stay loose.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So,
You guys are a good team.
on to the recovery.
Go ahead.
So the reason for this fast recovery is just like she's saying, we want our bodies to be really relaxed on the recovery. We want our bodies relaxed the whole stroke. If you're doing a slow recovery, like if I'm doing this, you can see I'm using my arm right now, right? So anytime you're using your arm, that's your smallest muscle, that's not what we want to use. How are you recovering if you're using that muscle? So the philosophy behind a relaxed recovery is if your arm is completely relaxed, the only way you're going to get it from back here to forward is by using your body. So just like someone swinging a baseball bat, they don't take their arms and go, ah, they hit a home run. They start with their hips, they throw their shoulders and their hips, and then their arms come through, and it's coming through 10 times as fast. Like I used to take boxing, and that was like the biggest example I use. But if you try and punch a punching bag with your arms, the thing barely moves, those heavy bags. But if you relax your whole body and throw this whip into your punch, the bag just flies. So that's the same sort of thing we're going with here. You're using half as much energy, but you're getting twice the punch out of it. So things we like to talk about to start that relaxed recovery is a lot of people have this recovery where it's like this, and if you're doing this, you're using your arm. It's kind of like I would say on a train, it's got that the bar between the two things, and they're just going like this up and down, and it's that train moving. So when you're doing this, you're using a lot of energy, and you're not able to keep low, so you're coming up and down a lot. And also when you come up here, you're starting your stroke up here because that's where your recovery is leading you to. So you're leaving the water and you're coming up. So through our whole recovery, we keep our blades low to the water, and we start low to the water. You keep your body in the same position so that you're nice and smooth in the boat. The smoother you are in the boat and the less the boat moves around, the more efficient your stroke becomes and the faster the boat's going to move through the water. If you're doing this, I'll sit in the back and stop paddling. And it's like I'm going like this up and down in the water, and you feel the boat just, and obviously that's going to slow the boat down. So we want to become smooth, and the way we become smooth is by relaxing. So once you pull your stroke through the water to start this smooth recovery, like I was just telling, what's your name? Susie over here, is we want to feather our blade. So instead of your blade being perpendicular to the surface of the water like this, we want it to be nice and smooth and parallel. So it comes around here. But that doesn't necessarily mean that we swing our arms around really wide and have this exaggerated recovery. We still want to keep our paddle going in that linear motion, our hands going in that linear motion. So your hand is still going to come right next to the gunnel. It's not going to swing out really wide here. So the way we allow that to happen is, it'll all be in your wrist eventually, but just to start to get used to the feeling, if you're with your top hand, you twist your T-top, then that's going to take your blade and turn it in the direction that we want it to go. And then with your bottom hand, what will end up happening is this wrist will break. So on your recovery, this wrist is going to break. And when this breaks, that means you don't have any tension here in your arms, and you're not using your arm for your recovery. So you twist that T-top, the wrist breaks, you close your hips and your shoulders, and you lead with your shoulder, and then your arm follows and flicks right through. So it's nice, quick, and it also, when it comes through quick like this, it's going to pop you right up into that open, twisted recovery right at the start of your stroke. So you twist, break the elbow, and then when you throw your hips forward, your elbow's going to come up. So on this recovery, I always think that I'm leading with my elbow. So it's like whatever you're doing with your elbow, your hand just kind of follows nice and relaxed and pops through. So you can really practice this on dry land, just treating your arm like a whip, nice and easy. Leading with your elbow, recovering relaxing the wrist. Yeah, just like that. So it's also going to stay right next to the gunnel, and You can do it nice and slow at first. Eventually it's going to become a faster recovery, but the most important thing to learn right now is to be relaxed on that recovery. So you're not here, you're not tense, you're not holding on to your paddle all tight. Everything relax, break your T-top, break your wrist, leave with your elbow, nice and loose, and then it'll pop right back up on top of the water.
It's feathering the blades. All it is.
Sorry. Yeah. All right. So, comes at the back. You break your T-top, and your blade's going to turn over right away. So even if when you release out of the water like that, you can have pressure until the last possible second, and then you'll actually use that pressure to push forward as you're pulling off of it. So break your T-top. Your wrist is going to break. You lead with your shoulder and your elbow, and you can still go right next to the gunnel and have that feathered blade.
Still keep your handle on the gunnel though.
Yeah.
When people first start doing it, they want to go doing this instead of just throwing it right back up.
Throwing dice, somebody said one time.
Dice.
Like throwing dice.
Right.
Like a frisbee.
Yeah.
Feeding the chicken. Yeah. Exactly. But nice and relaxed. So the whole time it's nice and relaxed. So if you practice that with your paddle too, nice and relaxed. And you can do this on dry land, just whip it.
Yes.
The more whip you get out of your hand.